Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Ahmed Mian. Today I'm joined by Connor
Hey guys.
and Mike.
Hello.
And it is that time of year again. The Game Awards are upon us. They actually air tomorrow, I believe. And I think last year we did an episode recording our sort of predictions and stuff for the Game Awards. And I thought it'd be fun to do something similar this year. We can maybe talk through the nominees and then also make predictions as to what will be shown there because historically we've had some pretty big reveals at the Game Awards. Like I think the Xbox Series X was actually revealed at the Game Awards last year.
Jonesy's getting
So-
added to Smash.
Someone's gonna get added to Smash. Like
It's Jonesy
that's almost
from Fortnite.
a positive. I don't even know who that is.
It's the
Smash is getting
blonde-haired
added to
like
Fortnite.
generic guy that you play.
Oh, the dude, yeah. That would, okay. All right, you joke, but
I'm
honestly,
not joking. There's a ton of credible sources for that.
okay, Fortnite's obviously like one of the biggest games in the world, but having Steve from Minecraft is just kind of, I don't know, that kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, it'll be awful, but I think it's gonna happen. I think it's more likely than any other character I can think of.
That's, I don't know how I feel about that, but okay.
I'm still not at over like 25% likelihood, but I like his odds more than any other character that anybody's thrown around.
Yeah,
do you
I
have a link
mean,
to the nominees for this?
Considering how big Fortnite is, yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I'll send you guys the list. I was actually list, and then eventually the last one we would discuss is potential game of the year, but I can send it to you guys as well.
Okay.
But like, yeah, the categories, at least on the bottom of the categories, I don't think we're too interested in. But if I'm wrong, please speak up about that. Best esports team. Do you guys follow any esports teams?
No.
I haven't in a while.
Okay. Then after that, we have best esports. Again, that's not our wheelhouse. I know esports is huge, but we don't follow that too closely. Best esports game. I think we could talk to this one. The nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Fortnite, League of Legends, and Valorant. I feel like Valorant has to win this, right?
Yeah, I gotta go Valorant. Because
I mean,
Fortnite
I
is not an
personally
esport.
haven't played it. Well, I mean, it kind of is, though.
It pretends to be, but it's not. Like, no part of that game's design makes it an esport.
Yeah, it's very.
It has a very high skill ceiling.
It does, but it has a very terrible format to put together a tournament.
True. Yeah, I think historically League of Legends sort of takes these esports categories, but I could
That's
be wrong.
fair. I like
Yeah.
Valorant's odds. Of course, that's Riot competing against themselves. So
That's true, yeah.
Riot's gonna get it.
I don't know. I kind of want to give a shout out to Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I think that's probably one of the best CODs ever made, from a multiplayer standpoint, especially because it introduced Warzone, and I'm a huge fan of that. But yeah,
Yeah, but Warzone.
all in all, I can't speak to like the best esport game this year because I've barely played any quote unquote esports games, and if I have played them, I haven't played them at a level where it would be considered an esport, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, moving on from that, I guess. So we're gonna throw Valorant out as our prediction, I think.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, best esports event, which is kind of an
Gotta be
interesting one
the-
considering this year, you know.
Gotta be the
All
Melee
of the
event that was
events.
canceled.
I mean, all of these
Yeah.
events I think were virtual.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
don't
yeah.
follow esports. so I
Again,
don't
not
know
something
anything
we can
about
speak
these.
to. Best esports coach, again, sorry. Starting this podcast off in a good way. Best esports athlete. Let's see if I know anyone here. Showmaker? Yeah, I know Showmaker from League.
I've never heard of any of these guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Best debut game. Okay, this is where the meat and potatoes begin, I think. Carrion, Mortal Shell, Raji, and Ancient Epic, which I've actually never heard of that. Roki and Phasmophobia.
This easily, in my opinion, goes to Carrion.
I don't know if
Phasmophobia
I
Carrion
was
is
gonna
good, but
say,
it's early access.
It's either going to be Phasmophobia or Carrion, right? It's got to be one of those two.
Carrion like, was like cool, But
Carrion
at
was
the
a
same
finished game
time,
for one thing.
at the same time, it was also super short.
Yeah, well, so
I
is
got a lot more
Phasmophobia.
enjoyment out of Phasmo. I put like almost 100 hours
I've
in the
played
game.
more Phasmo, but I liked Carrion way more.
Yeah,
Carrion's
so
such a smart game.
it's the interesting duality of like Phasmophobia captured like the zeitgeist, but Carrion's more of like a critical darling, I think.
Yeah, I
So
think if
it's
it were critics voting, I think it would easily be Carrion, but
so
because
it is
open-
critics voting.
it's critics voting,
So the
okay,
way
it's not.
Yeah, the way it works, so they're completely transparent. They have the panel of all the critics across the world whose vote gets tallied, right? So the way it works is 90% of the vote weight goes to critics votes and then 10% to like fan vote.
I think the critic vote goes to Carrion easily. Just because
I can
Phasmophobia
see
is
that.
not finished. Like, it's
True,
so
but,
clearly
like,
buggy early access, you know?
You know, in this day and age where early access is like the name of the game, I don't think having a finished game means as much anymore, unfortunately. So they might just go based off of fun factor. I don't know. I would
I still
personally
think it goes to
lean
Carrion,
towards
but it'll be
Carrion.
closer if they don't dock Phasmophobia points for being early access.
Yeah, but yeah.
I don't think early
Between-
access games should be included in these things until they're released.
Any comment on any of the other nominees? Have you guys played any of them?
I've heard of Mortal Shell.
I've heard of Mortal Shell. Isn't it that Dark Souls like? For lack of a better term,
believe so.
where when you die you can come back and then you're like shelled. And then if you die again you lose that character. Or something like that.
That sounds right, but I'm not 100% sure. Connor?
Never heard. Well, I've heard the name and nothing else, so I got nothing.
Okay. So moving on from that category, content creator of the year. I think like I've heard of a couple of these people. Like obviously Alana Pierce is pretty popular.
I've
And
heard
so
of
is Tim the Tap Man.
I've heard of Tim the Tap Man because he never wins at Spelunky, I think.
I think that's his
No,
shtick,
Tim
that he's
the
just like really bad
Tapman
at
never
video games.
won at Fall Guys.
He never won Fall Guys, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't Spelunky. Yeah. Alana Pierce I know a little better because she's appeared on some Game Grumps stuff recently. Didn't she used to work for IGN, maybe?
IGN.
Yeah, she used to
was
do
on
IGN,
Funhouse.
then she moved
She's
on
in
to Funhouse.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, she's done a lot of stuff, and now she's like a writer at Sony Santa Monica, which is really cool.
Yeah, I really don't know who. I don't know that any of these people would have made positive impact on the community. I couldn't say if that's what we're referring to. I don't know any of these people.
I don't know. It's that. So for the description for a streamer. Oh, yeah. You were reading this. Yeah.
I was reading the description. Yeah. Funny how that works, Ahmed.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that at all. Yeah, I don't know. I would guess Alana maybe because I feel like she's really kind of blown up in popularity, but I really don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't watch any of these
Okay,
people.
next
Which makes me
category-
wonder if I'm watching a bunch of negative streamers.
Yeah. Best multiplayer. This one's an interesting one.
Okay, first thing I
nominees-
gotta say is the fact that Animal Crossing
I know,
makes
it
this list
shouldn't
is an
be on here.
absolute sin. Like,
I think Animal Crossing is only on this list because of how big of a deal Animal Crossing was this year, but like its multiplayer is straight trash.
yeah, even calling it multiplayer is not really fair because you can't play the game. Like, if you're playing multiplayer, neither of you get to actually play Animal Crossing.
Yeah, so the
It's Among
nominees
Us,
are
right.
Animal Crossing New Horizons, Among Us, Call of Duty Warzone, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, and Valorant. I feel like it's between Among Us and Fall Guys.
I feel like it's got to go Among Us because like
Among
Fall
Us,
Guys was really big for a
definitely.
bit, but Among Us has been big for longer than Fall Guys was, and I don't see Among Us going anywhere for a while. Like, it's just good, clean fun. Like, I go a couple weeks without playing it, and then my friends say like, "Hey, let's hop on," and we spend a whole evening playing it.
Yeah, Among Us, I feel like, surprisingly has more staying power, than Fall Guys. Like,
Which
it was
is
hard
funny
to
'cause
imagine
it's like a 2-year-old
back then.
game.
We, did 3 straight episodes on Fall Guys. It really felt like Fall Guys was, here to stay. And don't get me wrong, people still play it a lot. It's just that Among Us really... The same phenomenon happened again right after with Among Us, which is really quite remarkable.
They just fumbled the support so bad on Fall Guys. Like, the fact that you still can't see your names on PC really, I know that's such a stupid
Well, I
thing.
don't
I've
know
brought
about
it up.
that. The seasons and the mid-season updates have all generally been pretty well received, right? Like they've added new minigames and tweaked existing minigames quite a bit. So they're
Yeah,
supporting
but
it.
I can't see my name. Like, get that
Yeah.
fixed. Like I might as well be playing with a bunch of bots. You know, that's what it feels like on PC. I don't. They're not people I'm playing with. You know, they're Fall Guy 4 digits. Like
Yeah, that
that kills
really,
it,
I don't know.
in my opinion.
It's kind of an easy fix, but I don't. Obviously, I
Yeah,
can't say
from
for
my
Rust
sure.
getting
software
some
engineering
cutout.
and Unity developer position, I think it's insane that they haven't fixed it yet. And the only reason I can think that they haven't, and this is my conspiracy theory hat here, is that they don't want us to know how rampant cheating is and that they're not actually catching anyone. But that's, that's big conspiracy theory hat, tinfoil.
Yeah.
But it's just so easy to scrub HTML. Like, everyone else can do it. I'm pretty sure Unity has it built in.
Yeah.
I get so mad at Fall Guys because it's such a good game and I'd love to play it, but I get so angry every time I turn it on.
Okay. So I mean, we don't have to have a consensus, but I think Among Us.
I think it's Among Us for sure.
It's definitely
Yeah,
Among Us.
I do want to give a shout out to Call of Duty Warzone. I've had a lot of fun with that this year.
Yeah, I've had a ton of fun with all of these games except Call of Duty. Just I've barely played it. A lot of fun with Animal Crossing, not in multiplayer.
Not multiplayer, yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to best sports/racing game. So I don't really play these games, but I know they're obviously huge games. We've got Dirt 5, F1 2020, FIFA 21, NBA 2K21, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. It's got to be Tony Hawk, right?
Sorry, my cats were fighting. I had to break that up. It's got to be Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Hawk, just that game is so fun, and I don't.
Remakes of like two industry-shaking classics. I mean,
Yeah, and I didn't even get very
versus
far into
like
Tony
your
Hawk
annual
2.
sports game, you know?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a good game.
Okay.
Tony
I
Hawk
don't
is
have
one of
it.
those I don't play it very often, but I can't bring myself to uninstall it. Like,
Yeah. I definitely got to check that out sometime. I still haven't tried it. I have seen some videos of the new NBA 2K game, and my God, does it look pretty. Like the graphics on next gen are insane.
I believe that. Yeah, those are typically pretty good looking games.
All right.
When
the
you
next
render the same
category
thing
here-
every year, you get pretty good at
Yeah,
it.
true. Yeah. The next category, Mike, I think you'll find a bit interesting. Best sim/strategy game.
I think it's
Nominees are
weird.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why did they put these together?
I
One
don't
of
know.
these things is not like the others.
Yeah.
Because obviously,
So
I look
the-
at this list and I'm like, Flight Simulator, easy.
So
but
okay, wait, let me read them. These are Crusader Kings 3, Desperados 3, Gears Tactics, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and XCOM Chimera Squad. Now, I haven't played any of these games, but like just looking at this list, I kind of want to vote for Crusader Kings 3.
I think for I want to vote Microsoft Flight Simulator just because it's like one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be in this category because I look at this category and like if we're grading on a scale that makes any sense, yeah, Crusader Kings 3. Like, because obviously it's not Gears Tactics and it's not. I don't really think it's XCOM Chimera Squad. I've never heard of Desperados 3, so it's got to be Crusader Kings 3. But
Yeah.
why is Flight
So it's gotta
Simulator
be.
here?
I don't. Maybe there weren't enough sim nominees for it to go against. I don't know.
I guess, but like, I don't get it.
It is a little strange. Yeah.
Because Flight Simulator, even calling it a game is a little weird because it's a flight simulator. Like all
Yeah,
these
it's
others
a
are.
simulator. It's literally a simulator. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an actual game per se.
Mike, have you played Crusader Kings 3?
I have not. It's on my list.
I
of
keep
things to play.
hearing nothing but like really good things about that game.
If it's anything like Crusader Kings 2, then it's gonna be great.
Yeah. All right, moving on from that one. Best family game. Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario: The Origami King. It's got to be Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree, which sucks because Fall Guys and Crash are both really good games. Although I don't know if I call Crash Bandicoot 4 a family game. Like, I don't know. This is a
I
weird
think-
category.
A lot of people just shove together family games and platformers into one category. I don't know.
If I'm thinking of a family game, it's for sure Animal Crossing. That's a game you can play with your family. Like the rest of it, what's Minecraft?
Yeah.
I guess Minecraft Dungeons is a good thing for parents to play with their kids, maybe.
Yeah,
Paper Mario really fit?
this is
I
a
don't-
little weird, category. I don't know. Like last year, so I remember last year the game that won Best Family was Luigi's Mansion 3, right? And that's also a single player Nintendo game. I guess by virtue of the fact that it's a Nintendo game, it's a family game.
Yeah.
It's a little strange.
It's
I think
very
Animal
weird.
Crossing for sure wins this one though.
Yeah, it has to. Like Animal Crossing, the mixture of Animal Crossing and the pandemic led to an insane video game fever. You know,
Oh yeah.
everyone was playing.
Yeah,
Animal
that
Crossing.
sold a lot of Switches. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Best fighting game: Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, One Punch Man: A Hero Nobody really. Under Night, In Birth, EXE, Late, CLR. What kind of title is that? That's ridiculous.
I didn't play any of these.
So I haven't played any of these either, but just the fact that One Punch Man is on here, I don't think that's a legit fighting game. It's just an anime tie-in
Anime
game,
game.
really. Yeah.
I wouldn't consider any of the anime fighters true fighting games because
Yeah,
usually they're not
It's
deep.
I feel like it's kind of insulting to the fighting game community that the Game Awards keeps nominating games like this for this award. I remember last year Jump Force was one of the nominees and that game
Oh,
just
that's-
plays terribly.
Yeah.
That's
weird.
not a fighting game even a little bit.
But then you have stuff
just-
like Fighters where it actually is a really good fighting game.
Fight a legitimate fighting game, but a button masher is not a fighting game.
No.
So
But I
Yeah.
don't know which one would win this. I don't
Yeah.
think it would be Street Fighter 5 because I've heard weird things about it. I don't
yeah,
think it'd be Mortal.
haven't-
I honestly I think it
I
would be
feel
Grand
like it's
Blue.
going to be Mortal Kombat, honestly.
You do?
But again, I'm not too in tune with this space.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Tough.
I mean, I think
Very
last year was Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Got this win.
Yeah. That makes
Okay,
sense.
next. Best role-playing game: Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's got to be Final Fantasy. I
Really? You
haven't
think
played it.
That's going to
but,
be Persona 5 Royal.
Yes, I think critically is the better game. But the thing about Final Fantasy VII that the three of us can't appreciate because we aren't really into that. But Final Fantasy VII was one of the seminal games of all time, and people have been waiting for a remake of this game for eons, and it finally came out and was really good this year. I think most people will vote for Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake took roughly 7 hours of gameplay and turned it into 40 hours is really impressive.
40 hours that seem to be good by all the accounts I've seen, which is
Yeah, I haven't
Impressive.
played a single game
personally-
on this list.
yeah. Persona 5 Royal would probably get this if it was up to me, but I can recognize Final Fantasy VII Remake will probably win this.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones I would say won't get it are Genshin Impact and Wasteland 3.
Yeah,
I would be very surprised if either of those won. The other three, Yakuza would be a surprise, but
I've also heard very good things about Yakuza. So
Yeah, I've heard it's. I'm I haven't started it yet. It's gonna be one of the things I do on my new PC. I think is dive in because I have a ton of Yakuza games, through Game Pass,
Yeah.
through Epic Games. I think one other place. I just have a bunch of them already, and I've never played any of them. So I think I have
yeah,
0 through 4 or something. It's crazy.
yeah. I started 0 earlier this year and then just got distracted by other stuff. But yeah, I feel like to get into this series proper, you just need to set aside hundreds of hours, which
Yeah, that's
is a
kind of the
difficult
plan.
thing to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
but by all accounts, seems worth it, to be honest.
I do that though. I just obsess on like a certain genre or
Franchise, yeah.
series for a long time. I'm doing it right now. We'll get into
What do
that in a bit.
I think I was doing all whenever.
So yeah,
Cyberpunk one.
I'll concede and say yeah, probably going to be Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Okay, best action adventure game. Nominees are Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which came out last year, which is kind of strange, The Last of Us Part 2.
It's not going to be
like-
Valhalla and it's not going to be Fallen Order.
I think it's going to be Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's not what I would pick. I would pick Miles Morales probably.
Yeah, it's a tough choice. And also half of the nominees on this list are Sony exclusives, which is wild. Which I guess makes sense. Action adventure is what they really do.
Yeah.
Of course, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Shout out to that. Like I've only played the first story, but I'm sure this game was absolutely spectacular. But there's just some insane competition this year.
Yeah. No, it's
yeah.
been a nuts year for games.
So I mean, obviously, I think The Last of Us Part 2 was an excellent game, but if we're solely basing it off of the action adventure genre, I feel like Ghost of Tsushima really fits that.
Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't call The Last of Us Part 2 an action adventure so much.
Yeah, it's like a third-person cinematic.
Yeah,
narrative
definitely. Yeah, it
game.
doesn't fit the genre nearly as well as Ghost of Tsushima or Spider-Man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Ghost.
Okay. I'll agree with Ghost probably. From what I've heard about it.
Best action game. Nominees are Doom Eternal, Hades. God, so many good games came out this year. Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, Streets of Rage 4. So I've played most of these games.
Yeah, me too.
And
I loved the first 3 games on this list, and I played all 3 of them. And I'll say that if Doom Eternal doesn't win, it got robbed. Like,
see, that's the thing. I'm leaning towards Hades on this one.
I loved Hades. I absolutely would not say that it. If you're just doing best action, like actual action combat, Doom Eternal picks Hades up and like scrapes it across the floor. Like, Hades is an amazing game, but it's not the action that makes it amazing. It's a combination of a ton of things. Whereas Doom Eternal doesn't have anything but action.
In that vein, Neo 2 is an amazing game, but like it's not necessarily the action that makes it amazing. Granted, the combat is at the core of it, and the combat's amazing, but it's essentially like a Souls-like, honestly, Neo.
But Doom Eternal,
I think it's got to be either Doom Eternal or Hades. And since I haven't really played Doom Eternal, I'll defer to you on this one.
It's got to go with Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think Doom Eternal will win, but I say it should. I think I definitely.
Do you think Hades will win?
I think it's between the two, like you said. But I think if I was the one picking it, Hades doesn't even show up to the party. Neither do any of these other games. Doom Eternal owns action this year. Nothing's even.
So maybe I don't know if you can comment on this, but like, wasn't there like some controversy with Doom Eternal and how it's like not enough like Doom 2016, and some people were mad about that?
It's not a lot like Doom 2016, but in my opinion, every single change they made was an improvement, with the exception of adding a bunch of first-person platforming.
Yeah.
Like they made it so that you have to use every gun in your arsenal all the time. I really think, I hate to say this, but I think a lot of the people complaining about the differences got filtered. Like, because you can't play it the same way you played Doom 2016. You have to adapt. You have to constantly be watching like a ton of different systems going on in the game. And you didn't have to do that in Doom 2016. In Doom 2016, you just had to shoot good. So it's hard. It's hard. It kept all the shoot good from Doom 2016, but then it added this entire other layer of like mechanical prowess you have to have, like keeping track of cooldowns, keeping track of all the different guns, ammo you have. Whereas in Doom 2016, like if you're not using the shotgun, why are you even playing? Like,
yeah.
But Doom Eternal, I regularly would empty the ammo for every single gun I had because I wanted to make sure that I got the most out of a chainsaw kill. Like, And I
Yeah.
would keep certain enemies alive because I knew I was going to need a chainsaw kill in a minute. And I would keep track of when my grenades had refreshed and like, do I want to use an ice grenade or a frag
It sounds like
grenade?
a super intricately designed game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Donkey, when he was reviewing it, he said that normal mode on Doom Eternal was harder than Nightmare on Doom 2016,
Wow.
just because you have to keep track of all these systems. And I kind of
Okay, so
I played through
the
Doom
Game
Eternal,
Talk
and
prediction will be Doom Eternal then.
yeah, I love that game. I haven't bought the DLC yet. I'm waiting for my new PC for that as well. Also,
The next category, is innovation and accessibility. The nominees are Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperdot, The Last of Us Part 2, and I think The Last of Us Part 2 has this.
I do
honestly.
too. I don't even think it's a contest. It's The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, like the fact that a completely blind person can play through The Last of Us Part 2 from start to finish and do all the optional content and collectibles in that game is a real testament to that.
Why watch
Those options.
on the list?
I don't know. I was hoping that one of you who
yeah,
played.
Valhalla makes sense. Grounded, maybe. Hyperdot, haven't heard of it. But Watch Dogs Legion, no. I didn't see anything
Okay.
about that game that screamed accessibility to me.
Okay, so yeah, I think this one's an easy one. We can lock Last of Us in for that. And give me a sec. I lost my place on the page.
Oh, I guess I just get to pick this next one.
Well, I'm not picking. I'm going sequentially up the page. Oh,
I know,
best
but-
VR/AR.
Yeah, so I'm the only one who's played any of these, right? Like,
Yeah, I think so. So Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Marvel's Iron Man VR. I have played that. Star Wars Squadrons, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners.
it's Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, it's got to be Half-Life Alyx. I haven't
With-
even played
with,
it, and I know that.
Yeah, honorable mention to Star Wars Squadrons, because I hear the VR in that is excellent, but it's Half-Life Alyx. I mean,
Yeah.
Half-Life Alyx is insane.
Yeah, that's I'm not going to contest that. That's solid. Next game, best community support. The nominees are Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant. I don't know. This one's a tough one.
This one exists to give No Man's Sky an award, I think.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this has to be No Man's Sky, right? The
Yeah.
sheer volume of quality stuff they've added to the game is
Yeah,
insane.
like all these other games, it's definitely not Fall Guys. All these other games do good updates and stuff, but as far once you bring transparency into question, it's No Man's Sky. Like transparency and responsiveness,
Yeah.
it's got to be. It's
I'm gonna lean towards No Man's Sky, but also I feel like, I haven't really been following Apex Legends. Maybe they've had an insane year. I don't
yeah,
know.
I agree,
but
but I
just
haven't
based
followed.
off what I know. Yeah,
I haven't followed No Man's Sky either, and I know about their reputation for this thing. You know,
yeah, true. So okay, No Man's Sky. Next game, best mobile game: Among
Oh,
Us,
this-
Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, Pokemon Cafe Mix. It's got to be Fall Guys.
it's got to be
Or-
Fall
yeah,
Guys.
sorry, Among Us. I get those.
It's
two
got to
games
be Among
confused.
Us.
I don't know.
I think
Legends
Genshin
of
Impact is an
Runeterra
honorable
popped
mention.
up.
What was that, Mike?
Legends of Runeterra actually hit big because it was a decent evolution on the
That's
trading
right.
card
That's
game
Riot's
genre.
new game. Yeah, that's Riot's like Hearthstone killer.
Yeah, and it's
That's
succeeding.
a fair point. That's a genuine competitor to Among Us. I think.
I think it's Among Us.
I still think it's Among Us though. Just everyone's played Among Us. Everyone's
Mhm.
talking about Among Us still.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Best indie game: Carrion, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Hades, Spelunky 2, Spiritfarer. All right,
All of these
Connor,
games
I
are
know what you're
so
gonna say.
Good. I'm gonna say Spelunky too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say Hades.
Yeah,
I
I think
think-
it's. But that's tough
Yeah.
because like
It is very tough.
all of these games were incredible. Spelunky
Yes.
2, like if Spelunky 2 didn't have the bonus of being so nostalgic for me, just, and being like all that Spelunky 1 power behind it, I don't know. It might be Hades. Hades might be my pick. Hades and Carrion are probably tied for me for second place, then Fall Guys, and then Spiritfarer. And I loved
Yes.
Spiritfarer. So
Yeah, these are all excellent games. I'm pretty firmly in the camp that it has to be Hades, and I think it will be Hades.
yeah, I think Hades is gonna win, but my pick would be Spelunky 2.
Yeah. Okay. Next category, best ongoing game. The nominees are Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. So this is kind of similar to the other category, right? This is kind of similar to best community support, I
It,
think. They're
it's
kind of tied
similar to
together
that,
there.
yeah. But I think it's Fortnite for this.
Yeah, Fortnite's had like some insane like events, right? Like
Yeah, I
Marvel
mean, I don't
related
play
events and stuff
Fortnite.
this year.
Yeah, I check out the events on YouTube occasionally though, and I don't play it. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's a sign that like of the phenomenon that Fortnite is.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Destiny 2's had a pretty big year too. They've had the release of Beyond Light, which is really pretty successful, a really good raid. But all things considered, I think what Fortnite's doing with like, in terms of keeping an ongoing game fresh, no one's quite doing it like Fortnite. I think
Yeah,
they
I
have so
think it's
many events so frequently that are so different, and just thinking about the engineering sort of chops that would take to maintain and keep going, it's pretty tough. You know,
yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
I think it's Fortnite.
Yeah,
Okay.
Fortnite.
All right, let's go with Fortnite for that one. Games for impact. So this is an interesting one. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. If found, Kentucky Route Zero TV edition, Spiritfarer, Tell Me Why, Through the Darkest of Times. So I haven't played any of these games, so I'm just
I've
gonna throw a guess out there. Yeah, go ahead, Connor.
I've
Actually,
played Spiritfarer and I've played Tell Me Why. I
I was
liked
gonna
Spirit.
guess Tell Me Why.
Yeah, I think it'll be Tell Me Why. I found Tell Me Why extremely boring, and didn't
Hmm.
finish the first chapter, but it, I think it did a lot for inclusivity and stuff, and the message seemed important. I just got really bored with the gameplay. Whereas Spiritfarer, I don't know if it really had such a strong message. It was just kind of about being at peace with death, kinda.
Hmm.
And so as a
Yeah,
game that I was having fun with and was kind of zen, Spiritfarer for me. But Tell Me Why I think is probably more important.
yeah, I think I agree with that. I've also heard very good things about Kentucky Route Zero. But yeah, I don't know. I think Don't Nod really just has this category down.
Yeah. Is that the same developers that did
Yeah.
okay.
Tell me why is Don't Nod like Life is Strange. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought when I was playing it, and I was kind of disappointed that I was having such a bad time. I might give it another shot. I might have just not been in the mood for it, but it kind of,
Yeah.
the first act drags on. I didn't really care about the characters at first. The characters grew on me. I thought the power that you have was really lame though. The like supernatural tidbit
The
I found really,
signature, yeah.
yeah, I found that it wasn't nearly as interesting as time travel.
Is this game basically Life is Strange 3?
I mean, it plays really similar to it. Yeah,
Hmm.
like you bounce between two characters you control. I think I only remember playing as the guy, but I think you bounce between them, and you're like exploring a little house, and like they used to live there when they were kids, and you're trying to figure out a little mystery, and they have like a weird
Yeah.
telepathy thing going on, and that's their power, and that's kind of really boring compared because that's just talking with
Okay.
extra steps. Like, yeah, I got really. That was when I kind of lost interest. I was like, man, that's. I imagine it gets better. I just didn't really give it a chance.
Okay, so that's gonna be our game of the year for games of impact for impact. Okay. Best performance. Okay, so this one self-explanatory. Best like acting performance in a game, and the nominees are one sec. Lost it again because
I'll
I
read it.
suck.
It's Ashley Johnson as Ellie in The Last of Us Part 2. Laura Bailey as Abby, The Last of Us Part 2. Daisuke Suji as Jin Sakai.
Daisuke. Yeah,
Daisuke Suji as Jin Sakai. Oh man, that was really bad of me.
that was
Logan
very
Cunningham
white
as
of you.
Hades. Huh?
I said that was very white of you.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty embarrassing. And Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. I feel like this goes to either Ashley Johnson or Laura Bailey, right?
Yes. So I've played all of these games, and I will say, all of these performances were outstanding. That
Yeah.
goes without saying. Like they were legitimately very, very good, all of them.
Yeah,
It
any other
has to
year,
be
Hades
between
would
Ashley
be.
Johnson and Laura Bailey. Those two's performance in The Last of Us Part 2 was straight up just the best acting I've seen in a video game. Like, period. So like it's got to be one of those two. I am leaning towards Ashley Johnson, but I feel like Laura Bailey might win this, honestly. So, yeah,
Yeah,
one of
I
those two have to win.
haven't seen it. I think it's interesting to say that Logan Cunningham as Hades would have been a front runner any other year.
Oh yeah,
But
his voice as Hades is phenomenal.
yeah, but I don't think it's going to compare to The Last of Us Part 2 stuff.
Yeah, and you know it's funny. Daisuke Tsuji is Jin Sakai. I played Ghost of Tsushima in Japanese, so I have not heard a single line from this guy. Because I believe Daisuke Tsuji is the English voice actor.
I
Yeah.
think.
I just want to apologize for butchering his name.
It's okay. So, next category is Best Audio Design. This one's pretty cool. The nominees are Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, and The Last of Us Part 2.
So the audio design in Doom Eternal is phenomenal, but
Yeah.
I feel like Half-Life Alyx has an extremely unfair advantage in this, in that it's a VR game where almost everyone playing it had headphones in.
Right,
like,
yeah.
The sound design matters so much in a VR game, and it was really good. And I think that's an unfair advantage, but if we're going to compare them, it's Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, this is a tough choice. This is a very tough choice. Of the games I've played on here, they've all have had excellent audio. I will say from what I've played, I think The Last of Us Part 2 has probably the best audio. But
Yeah,
again,
I
I've not
could
played
see it being
Half-Life
better than
Alyx.
I could see
So-
The Last of Us Part 2 beating Doom, maybe, although Doom did do a really good job. And this is a hard one, because, like, do I include soundtrack in this? Because Doom Eternal,
No,
if we're
there's
including
a
soundtrack, it's
different
Doom.
category for there's a
Okay.
different category for that. So
Or I guess
I think I'm gonna guess Half-Life for this,
Yeah.
just simply because like sound in a VR game just transforms the experience.
Yeah, and it was stellar. Yeah, I didn't finish the game, but there's one sequence that is very loud and scary, and they nailed it.
Okay. So now next category is what we were alluding to: best score and music. The nominees are Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, The Last of Us Part 2. God, this is such a difficult category.
Yeah, this is hard because I would honestly say The Last of Us Part 2, from what I've seen, but not necessarily for original music. Like, you know, the non-original music I've heard of in The Last of Us Part 2 is just really, really good. If not for that,
I mean,
you
it's
can't beat BFG
it's-
Division and Doom Eternal. Like,
You really
yeah,
can't.
so for The Last of Us Part 2, you've got Gustavo Santaolalla back doing his like custom-made guitar score for the game, and I that's just the guitar playing in that game is just so raw and good. I
yeah.
kind of want to give it to The Last of Us Part 2, but I will also say the soundtrack in Hades is absolutely phenomenal. Like
It's good, but it's-
so good.
But Mick Gordon, man, Doom Eternal. Oof.
And I will
BFG.
also say, actually, you know what will probably win this is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I haven't
Because
played
that
it.
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII music is so iconic, and now it's like fully orchestrated in this game. It's going to hit a lot of people really hard.
This is a tough one to answer because I think Ori has good music too. So this is a really tough one.
Yeah,
In
this
my
is
mind,
a
it's
very
between The
tough
Last
one.
of Us and Doom Eternal. But
Doom Eternal's music was, Doom music. When has Doom
Yeah.
ever produced a
I'm
bad
going
soundtrack?
to guess The Last of Us Part 2. And another reason why I guess obviously the score by itself is phenomenal, but in 2013 when The Last of Us came out, it lost this category, the score and music category, to GTA 5, which is just
that's criminal.
just the worst. Like that's
GTA
awful.
5 does not deserve because it's just a bunch. It's a mixtape, you know.
Yeah, like and that was very insulting, especially to someone like Gustavo Santaolalla. You know, I
Yeah,
feel like so they have to do
that's
right
why
by
I'm
him.
saying like there should be a separate category for OST and soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
So that
I'm
was a
with
very
you on The
spicy.
Last of Us on this one. I think.
Yeah. Best art direction. Oh, okay, we're getting into the spicy categories now.
This is a
Uh,
hard one.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps Part 2. I
I kind
feel
of gotta
like
give
if
this. I like
Ori,
Hades.
I was gonna say if Ori's gonna win any of these, I feel like it has to be this, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like,
But I think it's Hades.
hey, yeah, and also Ghost looks so good too, and I mean, The Last of Us Part Two is really pretty graphically, but like in terms of art, it just
Yeah, I
looks
have
like
a
a
hard
real.
time giving
It
this
just
to
looks
any.
like real life, you know. So I
Yeah,
don't really
giving this
count
to
that.
anything hyper realistic, I have trouble with, which is why I don't. Yeah.
I'm going to predict it's going to be Ori, simply
Okay.
because like I, seeing that game just run, it just like every frame of that game could be like a beautiful painting in like an art gallery. I feel like
I'll concede
I
that
don't
to you.
know. I mean, I haven't even played the game, right? But
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that. But that's not to say any of these. These all are incredible looking games. Okay, best narrative: 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2.
It's
I
The Last of Us
mean,
Part 2,
it's The
right?
Last of Us Part 2.
I
You haven't
mean,
even played it.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima's narrative is good, but The Last of Us Part Two's narrative literally chews you up and spits you out and leaves you quivering on the floor. Now,
Yeah.
I guess I hear what you're saying. The narrative was very controversial, right? That's kind of what you're hinting at.
Not that it was controversial, more that it had some dissonance, gameplay story dissonance, where it told you were a bad person, but the game required you to do these things.
Are we talking about Last of Us or
Yes,
Ghost of
Last
Tsushima?
of Us.
Okay.
Have you played the game, Mike?
I've seen enough of it to like make my decision.
I haven't
Okay.
seen or played any
Yeah,
of it,
because
so it's-
I'm not really sure what you're referring to, and to talk about that anymore will be spoilers.
Yeah,
'Cause
it'll
this
yeah,
be
and
game is
I have not
full
been
of spoilers.
spoiled at all. Well,
Okay, so
I got the big thing spoiled for me, but
well, yeah,
I don't really care. I never
yeah,
cared.
and obviously, like everyone's, the narrative in this game is the most controversial bit about this game, and everyone's sort of dissected it in every which way. But I think even because of that fact too is what elevates it. The fact that it's talked about this much, even if some people really dislike some of the narrative choices in this game. So I don't know. I'm going to lean towards The Last of Us Part Two.
Okay,
And Mike, you
yeah.
said you're leaning towards Ghost.
I'm leaning towards Ghost.
Okay, yeah, I believe. Best game direction nominees are Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and The Last of Us Part Two.
Ooh, game direction. That Hades is kind of weird.
I think it's Hades because if we're talking innovation and creative vision, Hades is very different from any roguelike before it
Yeah.
in very positive ways. But I think Half-Life's a contender too because
Half-Life Alyx as well.
it's the first like AAA VR game that's like a real VR game, and
Yeah.
that was uncharted territory and they nailed it. So
And I agree with both of those. I will also throw The Last of Us Part Two in there simply because some of the narrative choices made in that game are pretty, I think, unheard of. And I think
but that's
it was
narrative.
innovative. Well, here's the thing: innovation in game direction and design. And I think the narrative is so intrinsically part of the game here. I don't want to get into the specifics, but like something happens halfway through the game, which obviously is a source of a lot of controversy. But I think that's one of The Last of Us Part 2's strengths. Yeah, I don't know. Like this one's a
I think
very
it's
tough
Half-Life.
category.
Yeah, I'd say Half-Life. Half-Life or Hades.
And I lean Half-Life just because of how uncharted the territory was going in to make a story-based AAA game in VR.
Okay, yeah, I haven't played Half-Life, so I can't comment on that. So I guess I'll just defer to you guys for this one.
It's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. I mean it is the only VR game that makes me think that there's any reason to buy another VR headset. Because if
Yeah.
anyone else if those games start coming out with any regularity, games of that caliber, flat screen games can't compete. Like it's insane. how
Yeah.
good that game is.
Okay. Final category, Game of the Year. Nominees are Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, and The Last of Us Part 2. This is an incredible list of games.
So
Yeah, none
in
of them are my game of the year.
In terms of like impact, none of those are my game of the year. My game of the year came out 2 years ago. But
That's really fair. Is it Among Us?
Yeah, it's Among Us. Among Us is definitely my game of the year.
Mine
but-
is probably well,
so
we'll
the
do our own.
description, let's just say the description for this is recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields.
Okay, that's not Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's not Animal Crossing.
It's Doom
Ghost of
Eternal for me.
Tsushima, Doom Eternal.
let's make the case. I think you can make the case for each of these games. So let's
Yeah.
go ahead and do that. Animal Crossing, the reason it would win, it was a global phenomenon this year.
Yeah,
you know,
but it was a
Switches to sell
terrible
out.
technical experience. Like, yeah,
True.
it-
Yeah, that really knocks
uh,
it. But
I
in terms
really
of
think that
creative
knocks it-
experience,
it knocks it down a peg out of the caliber of all of these other games. I think. If we're going strictly, I don't see the rubric that they're using, but if we're scoring on a rubric, then based on the description, Animal Crossing.
I don't think there is a rubric. I think it's
Yeah,
just
I know, but
it's
I'm
just
scoring
there.
on a rubric in my head here, and Animal Crossing loses so many points on that technical field that it isn't on
Yeah.
this list anymore. Despite me
Yeah,
thinking it's a phenomenal game.
it's a phenomenal game, and the only reason I think it has a shot is because of how big of a phenomenon it was. But
Yeah.
if you were to ask me right now which one of these I think will win, it's between two, and I think we'll get to that here in a minute. But I want to go through all the nominees first. Let's make the case for Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal would be my pick. I do not
Yeah.
think it's gonna win. Largely because like Doom Eternal is not something. Like I was saying earlier, it's intensely difficult, and it's not really something I think anyone could just pick up and play, which I think hurts it. Even less than probably any of these other games, except maybe Ghost of Tsushima. I think it was really hard. But Doom Eternal's just it appeals to me as a gamer in a lot of ways, and
Yeah.
it hits all the bells and whistles for me. But I don't believe that it is going to be the majority choice. But if we're looking looking at creative and technical fields, the id engine, id Tech or whatever, it's the best game engine.
Yeah.
Like it runs so amazingly. It's so well optimized. You can run it on a toaster. And then best creative experience, it's just, it's Doom. They
It's Doom,
didn't
yeah.
have to change Doom 2016, and they did anyway, and I liked everything that they did. Except the platforming, which is fine. I 100%ed it. I haven't done it on Nightmare yet, but I'm going to. It's a good game.
It is a very good game.
So, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yes. So none of this game, right? But like, I think we'd be fools not to consider it, right?
Yeah, I think it's got a good
it's
shot.
going to be. Yeah, it's got a decent shot. It looks great. It plays great from what I understand, and the fact that they reimagined like the first slice of Final Fantasy VII into this 40-hour epic,
Yeah,
and that
I
it was
mean,
actually good.
That's technically impressive.
I really
Yeah.
want to play this game. The only reason I haven't is that I don't want to play the first part of Final Fantasy VII. I want to play Final Fantasy VII. That's literally the only thing that stopped me from picking.
I
this
mean, the first part of Final Fantasy VII is a great cyberpunk experience.
yeah,
Yeah, the
but I
Midgard.
want to play it all. Like I'll probably buy
Yeah.
it all when it comes out finished. But I don't like. I don't know. I don't like
Well,
episodic.
I hope
release that
you'll
much.
look forward to picking that up in like 2030.
Yeah, I know exactly.
All right, Ghost of Tsushima. So I've played this game. I love this game. I think this game is Assassin's Creed best it's ever been. It's the best Assassin's Creed game ever made, which is
That's
kind of
not
funny.
very- That's not high praise for me.
I don't know. Some Assassin's Creed games are really good, I think.
Some Assassin's
But
Creed games are good, I would say, but
Tsushima, really sort of fulfilled that samurai fantasy that, like a lot of games kind of danced around it, but this game fully embraced that and was the samurai game. And I think it's got a good narrative as well. But if I'm going to be completely honest, if I could knock one game off this list, it would probably be either Ghost of Tsushima or Animal Crossing. And that's
Really?
not to speak ill of those games. It's just the caliber of video game this year is so high,
Yeah.
especially compared to like 2019, I think.
Yeah. Didn't 2019 have Outer Wilds? It did.
It
Outer Wilds.
did.
Yeah.
2019 was Outer Wilds.
None of these games even come close to Outer Wilds. None of them ever could. So
I
Sorry.
disagree
I
with
like
that.
the concept of Outer
you haven't
Wilds.
played Outer Wilds.
And you haven't played The Last of Us
Yeah, I have.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. Hades. Okay, so this game sort of I feel like this game took the critical world by storm. Like everyone loved this game.
Yeah, I think
You
Hades
know-
has a real shot.
So spoilers. I think this is a contest between two games. I think it's between Hades and The Last of Us.
I do too.
And I think Hades. So Hades, I had no idea what I was expecting when I got into this game, and the fact that its gameplay is just so good, and there's so many different ways to play, and the fact that I've done like over like 30 or 40 runs, and each one's been completely different, just because there's that much gameplay variety, on top of all of the interesting characters and the interesting lore and the story. Like Hades is such a unique a unique creative experience, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what elevates it, I think, above most other games this year.
I definitely think Hades deserves it. Maybe deserves it as much as Doom Eternal does, I think. If I had to pick one that I thought actually had a chance, I would pick Hades every day of the week off this list.
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope it's Hades. I
so
think
that-
Supergiant deserves it. I think
Yeah.
Hades did a lot of really interesting things that hadn't been done before.
So that leaves the last game on this list, The Last of Us Part 2. You don't need to hear me talking about this game anymore. I've done a whole episode on it. I think it's between this and God of War, these are the best games on PlayStation 4, period, I believe. And I think this game narratively shook me to my very core and just kind of left me shriveled up and chewed me up and spat me out in the best possible way. I love this game. I personally, so if I were picking, I would say The Last of Us Part 2 is Game of the Year. But what I think will win Game of the Year is Hades, honestly.
I really
And
I hope it's
I'm
Hades.
honestly 100% okay with that. Hades is a phenomenal game.
I won't say my rant on The Last of Us again because it's the same every time. I think they're good.
But you
games.
haven't played it.
Yeah, but it's not going to be that different from the first one, and I've seen like all the praise for it. I've read reviews. It's people saying the exact same thing they said about the first one.
Yeah, I guess I'm really a sucker for those like narrative cinematic
you're a sucker
games.
for a good narrative, but that's not enough for me. You know, if
But-
you want a good narrative,
but
you
that's
can
the
watch
thing.
a movie.
The gameplay in this game is phenomenal too, and I know.
Oh, I believe that. The gameplay in the first one wasn't bad, but it's not.
This blows the gameplay of the first one out of the water. The
I believe
gameplay of the first one's like terrible compared to this one, honestly.
Really.
Yeah.
It would never be my game of the year just because it feels so desperate to be a movie when it's a video game.
Yeah. So I think we put out our differing opinions. My pick for game of the year is Last of Us Part 2. I think both of you are for Hades, right?
Yeah,
My
I'm for
pick would be
Hades.
Doom Eternal, but
I could
okay.
be for Hades or Doom.
Hades is the one I think will win.
Yeah. So I think we're all in agreement there. Like we all have different personal picks, but we all think Hades will win. Is that
Well, none
is
of
that
these would be my game of the year, but my game of the year of these
from this list? I guess.
yeah, from this list, it's going to be Doom Eternal. Yeah.
I think maybe that's an interesting thing we can lightly touch on too. What would your all's game of the year be? Mine's, I've
Noita.
already said mine is The Last of Us. Noita, yeah, dude, I'm surprised Noita wasn't on the indie list at least.
Yeah, I think it would have beat Spelunky 2 for me on the indie list probably. Noita is just insane.
Do you think it's just an issue of like not enough people know about it?
I really do. I think it's a
Yeah.
little too obscure.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And it's
No,
still
I
in
don't even know
early
if that's
access,
fair,
right?
because it's not early access. It's out.
Oh yeah.
It left early access this year. I think one of the issues. Actually, when was the deadline for this?
I think it was like right when the PS5 came out, because like
Okay.
Miles Morales is on this list, right?
Right. Yeah, because early access or Noida left early access. I think in September.
Wait a
Maybe.
minute. So if the cutoff is when the PS5 came out, where is Demon Souls?
And
That
where's
should be
Astrobot?
yeah, all over this. So I don't know where quite where the cutoff date is.
Yeah, that's
But
weird.
it is sort of weird, having a cutoff in November. I think they should just host the Game of the Year ceremony in like January or something, so you get a true representation of everything that came out this year. Because
Yeah.
we have another major game coming out, which a lot of people will probably consider their Game of the Year, and that's Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah,
So-
that comes out in an hour.
And that'll only
From
be
this
eligible for
recording.
2021's awards, which is kind of goofy. So I don't know. Maybe they can improve the format of this
Hey.
show, but
Well, let's
Yeah.
hold up. They still have an hour to delay Cyberpunk again.
Oh yeah, they do. You're right.
true.
We're this close.
Yeah.
10 minutes before it launches, they're going to delay Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Oh, sorry
Yeah.
guys, we can't make it till fall 2021. We'll be right there with Halo Infinite.
However, I think the biggest thing to remember is that all awards for games are arbitrary at best, and gaming is
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
very
it's just
perspective.
it's
Yeah, but people get excited
everything's
for the
subjective.
Oscars. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
everything's subjective.
yeah.
And yeah, so in terms of potential reveals, do you guys think we'll see anything exciting?
I think
hope we
Jonesy
see-
from Fortnite comes to Smash Bros. I think
God,
that's
Kill
pretty
me, please.
likely.
I hope we see Elden Ring.
I think we're gonna see Master Chief get added to Fortnite, along with Kratos and
Master Chief already got added to
what?
Master Chief already got added to Fortnite.
He did? I thought that was just leaked.
No, I'm pretty sure that's a thing, right?
No, I think that was really recent. I sent you guys a leak.
Huh. Okay. I
And
mean, it
I,
wouldn't surprise me at this point.
And Kratos got leaked.
If even
Thanks.
Sony's putting characters on Fortnite, like it's over. Like Microsoft will put everything on there because
And
Sony's
there's
like
a theory
way more
that
like
Samus
guarded,
is gonna get in,
Yeah,
which would be
Fortnite
weird.
is just the gross Smash Bros of the industry.
Yeah, Goku's gonna be in it.
Yeah, no, they're just going to throw. Fortnite can throw whatever cameos they want. They've
Actually-
turned their game into like a platform.
I mean,
I bet-
they've already got like Iron Man and Thor in it too.
I bet it's really likely that Kirito from Sword Art Online gets put in Fortnite
Oh
eventually.
no.
I'd put good money on it.
Remember when the biggest cameo
Oh my
was
god,
like
I bet there'll be a Fortnite season of Sword Art Online.
Remember
Why
when
would you
like,
say something like that?
there was like a period in Fortnite where the discount John Wick was a skin and that was it.
Yeah.
And then it just jumped the shark.
Attention,
It's like,
okay.
gamers. John
So
Wick needs your help.
okay, let me rephrase the question. Any non-Fortnite related predictions for tomorrow's Game Awards?
Fortnite gets shut down.
We'll get a Smash character.
We'll definitely get a Smash
We'll
character.
get a
I
Smash
remember
character.
was last year Joker?
Nah.
that
no,
was the
last
year
year was
It was the
Maybe.
year before last was Joker.
yeah.
I just remember that
they
that
were last.
reveal was so hype. That was
Last year was Banjo. Hold
That
on.
might be right. Or was it Hero? Or that was the same time,
No.
wasn't it? Hero and Banjo.
yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. Just
I'm
I'm
looking
excited for a hype
2019.
Smash reveal.
I think they're probably no. This probably isn't the event that they'll announce DLC for Hyrule Warriors, but that's coming.
I mean, but in terms, we've just been talking about like DLCs and character announcements. I'm thinking like games. Like this is a place where major games are revealed.
We might get a release date for Psychonauts.
Maybe.
I don't know if Psychonauts is major enough though for this.
Do we potentially see Metroid 4 showing up?
Nah. They restarted it this year, so
Yeah.
it's not ready.
I could see Sony if Sony's serious about releasing God of War Ragnarok in 2021, which I highly doubt still.
Oh yeah, we can see a
if
trailer.
they're doing that, they're showing that here, I think.
But that's it. I can't think of anything else that would be shown unless maybe Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be
I
an
can see them
exciting.
announcing Persona 5 Royal for the
So
Switch.
here's the thing, though. Like, I wish this show was just like.
Oh, there
Yeah,
was
I wish it was
no
more condensed. You know. Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
there was no Smash Ultimate reveal last year.
Okay, so that was 2018.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
2018.
like, so this show. I don't know if you guys know this, but this show is 4 hours long.
Yeah, I think I watched it with you one year. I think I
Yeah,
was at
1
your
year.
house.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, apparently, like, I looked at the list of presenters, and it's just a ridiculous list. It's like you've got people from the game industry, right? But then
Yeah,
you've got
Brie
people
Larson
like
is presenting.
Brie Larson. You've got Christopher Nolan presenting. It's just like,
God.
what is happening here? It's
Don't
just
like
like, but like I wish I feel like this could be a really good 2 hour show combined with like the awards and the reveals, but it's like really long.
Yeah, I'll just have it on in the background. I won't be paying
Yeah.
attention until
Yeah.
I hear the Smash Bros sound effect.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, no,
the thing
it'll
about
be on
Smash
during
reveals,
extra
like
life, I think,
if,
right?
if like you won't
Or is it
know it's a
tomorrow?
Smash reveal until like halfway through it.
Yeah, true.
So, all right,
Oh,
yeah.
they
So
might-
I think, yeah, go ahead.
Nah, they're probably not going to announce the new Doom DLC.
Did they announce it last year?
No. Doom Eternal wasn't out yet last year.
I don't remember.
Doom Eternal came out the same day as Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot.
Yeah, that was my wallet's darkest day.
I forgot that we had two
Oh yeah,
hotly
Classic.
anticipated games launch on the same day.
so
That-
yeah, I think that's our predictions for the Game Awards. Unless we've got any last minute things to throw in.
Did you jot any of these down?
Oh, not at all.
Because that would have been fun to like next week
I mean,
say
I think-
what all we got right.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can remember most of it. Like it's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah,
gut
because
feelings.
most of it I knew immediately when I
Yeah.
looked at it.
But yeah, do you guys want to talk about what you've been playing?
I got kind of a diatribe for mine because I have
Sure.
talked on this show about not liking turn-based RPGs.
Literally,
What?
I think every episode for a stretch of like at least 10, you've mentioned that.
Yeah, but weirdly enough, I got into it. Started with Dragon Quest XI, 11S Echoes of an Elusive Age on Game Pass, and I was like, I didn't hate the demo for this. The graphics are really pretty, and it plays kind of like just watching an anime, which I really like.
hmm
Like it has, slice of life bits almost, as well as like action packed bits.
Really, Dragon Quest does?
Yeah, a little bit. Like maybe
Huh.
not slice of life, but like one of the things I really like is like you go into the town and like your party splits up and they're all doing things in that town. Like your healer might be off healing people if you're in a town where like people are hurt, or like maybe your healer and her sister are out like, just looking at the boats on the dock, and like there's a guy named Sylvando and he's like stereotypical flamboyant gay guy kinda, and he'll be off like he'll be at the docks too looking at sailors. Like
Okay. I
it's a
mean,
fun Sylvando,
Ja- yeah,
I question
Japan's
whether or
handled
not-
that less tastefully in the past, so
Yeah, and Sylvando's not too bad. But I don't know. And it's also got like a ton of fun puns and stuff. Like there's an MMA arc, and like this is all drawn by Toriyama. All the characters
Yeah.
are designed by him. And there's a masked martial arts
that's fun. Yeah.
part you do, and it's in a town called Octagonia.
Oh my god.
Wait, what?
It's so stupid. There's like a tourist town in it called Phenomenon,
God.
with a boss in it named Dora in Gray, and it's a painted lady. Like
See, I wonder how much of this Toriyama comes up with. Is it just the art? Because like
I
these
think
names,
it's just the art. But
okay,
it's hard to say.
these names almost sound Toriyama-esque. Because he always takes like real life like some like English words and just turns them into characters.
Yeah, so that's my game I've been playing mostly. But I realized I don't dislike turn-based RPGs that much. I really just hate Pokemon because they're garbage games that are terrible at doing turn-based combat. And like, or they're not garbage games. The new ones are. But because I've also gone back and played Pokemon Yellow recently, and because I bought that a while back, and I was like, maybe this won't be so excruciating. And Pokemon Yellow is excruciating, but not for the reasons I expected. Because Pokemon Yellow is like kind of hard. Like Pikachu's not a good Pokemon to start that game with. It makes the first gym really hard. And like my Pikachu was so underleveled that I couldn't beat Misty because Pikachu's worthless against anything except water types in the early game. Like
Yeah.
but like going through Mount Moon took me like an entire evening. It was agonizing kind of, but in a way that I had a lot of fun with. I've also been playing a game called Monster Sanctuary. It came out yesterday, I think, and it's
Okay.
kind of like a Pokemon take on a Metroidvania kind of. It's hard to explain, but I'm just going to focus on the combat in it. It's and it kind of, along with Dragon Quest, gets this right. You have 3 monsters at a time fighting 3 monsters at a time, and that's just way more interesting than one-on-one combat. Because in one-on-one combat, it feels like there's no reason outside of like highly competitive arenas to ever use status affecting moves. But if you have 3 monsters, you can have 1 monster dedicated to buffing you, 1 monster dedicated to weakening your allies, and 1 monster dedicated to attacking. And like that's been the case as well in Dragon Quest. I have
Yeah, it sounds like you're actually discovering
yeah
turn-based
there's
combat for the
actual
first time.
strategy here. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what I've been doing.
I mean, okay, to be fair, there is strategy in Pokemon. You can get really high level with some of the stuff,
Yeah.
like withheld items and
You can,
abilities
but
and stuff.
Typically those are double battles too, which the game does not really give you very much of.
Yeah.
But I think there's a reason. Like, and I've also been rewatching the original Pokemon anime, and what makes me so mad is that the people doing the anime immediately realized that double battles are more interesting. Like, this was before double battles were even a thing in the games, but like they do double battles in the anime constantly.
Yeah, no, it's
Like in
all
Kanto?
the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Just going
funny.
through Kanto. Yeah, every time they fight Team Rocket, it's a double battle.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, like
It's
in
just
a
really
show
dumb.
format. Yeah.
Like, yeah. But there's just so many more options. And I've
Yeah,
always
with double battles like exponentially increase the depth of a Pokemon match.
but I think Pokemon gets it wrong in so many ways. So like in Monster Sanctuary, you don't have to do it, like all the battles are totally optional. Nothing jumps out at you, which I guess is true in the newer Pokemon games, Sword and Shield. But
Yeah.
historically, like you get all this fodder and stuff, and you kind of have to battle it. I haven't really hit a point where I need to grind in Monster Sanctuary, which is a huge plus. I have a couple of times in Dragon Quest, but Dragon Quest has a mode like you can speed up combat to go really fast, and it has like tactics modes where you can just say to your whole party, fight wisely, and you can set the controller down, and they will do the entire.
Yeah,
fight for you.
that's a common thing in turn-based RPGs.
Amazing. Like, why is that not?
Yeah.
Why is that not in Persona for one thing?
Well, you can do that with like your teammates, but not your character.
Yeah, and
Which
just
I'm the opposite. I love micromanaging my party in like RPGs. That's
well,
like
I
that's my thing.
micromanage. Like, I turn that off the moment I get to a boss fight. When like if I think something is actually a threat to me, I turn that off because that's when the game gets really fun. Is when I'm actually using strategy I've learned and stuff to fight a boss. But in Pokemon that never happens. Like that happens in the Elite Four maybe. And like other than that, you could totally just have the game on autoplay and be fine. Like if I could auto kill those Zubats, they wouldn't be so annoying. Like I don't know.
Honestly.
I just think Pokemon really has missed the boat on every innovation RPGs have had in the past 20 years.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Pokemon's
And-
very, very slow to iterate and improve.
And they give turn-based RPGs a bad name. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd absolutely prefer in any of these cases to be playing an action RPG, but I am enjoying them. And I really did I realized I liked Dragon Quest XI and I dove into a bunch of others just to be like, maybe this isn't so bad. It's still not high on my list of favorite genres or anything, but I'm going to finish Dragon Quest probably. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear some interesting things about like the back half of that game. So when you get there, let me know.
Yeah, I don't know how far into it I am. I hit a quest line that was like I thought that this was the game opening up and oh man, this is when it really starts because they were like telling me about these. For all intents and purposes, I had to gather the six. It was 6 in this case, but they were Dragon Balls more or less.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
love
oh
it.
god, so this is it. This is like how the story starts, and I'm not going to see the first one of these things for a couple hours probably. And then before the cutscene had even ended, I had 3 of them. And then a 4th one not even 20 minutes later or something. Like I haven't
That's,
gotten the fifth one yet, but the
I
game.
guess that's
What I'm saying
one
is
way
the
to
pacing is
subvert
good.
your expectations.
Yeah, the pacing is very fun. You go into towns, they set up a whole story for that town. It feels like an anime episode a lot of the time, like, or even an arc. Like you go into a town,
Yeah.
a controversy in the town is set up, you solve it. Your whole party is like, well, that was fun, but aren't we supposed to be saving the world? And then they leave. Like,
Yeah, that honestly sounds like a lot of fun. I started Dragon Quest XI a while back, but I never got past first couple hours just because I got distracted. And I've always meant to go back.
the voice acting is atrocious, I will say. I don't know what it is about
Dude,
JRPGs.
I would totally play it in Japanese though.
Oh, I was playing it in English, and I'm going to continue to because they're like laughably bad. But like,
Have you have you seen Tim Rogers' review of Dragon Quest XI?
no,
That's one of the best reviews I've ever seen of a video game.
I'll have to check it out.
I'll link it to you. You must watch it, Connor.
But like, I don't know what it is because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had the same problem. What is with all these Scottish accents in JRPGs?
It's just the way they are.
Like I was on
no
a
idea.
Discord call with my friend while I was playing it, and I walked up on this desert city, and I was like, Tyler, I'm gonna turn this game off if somebody in the city has a Scottish accent. And it was the first time. It was the first person in the game that didn't have one.
That's so funny.
I'm
Like,
gonna quit this.
yeah, it's just infuriating. I don't know why.
I don't know. Maybe
And they say
that's
like
the favorite sort of dialect of English it just sounds good to Japanese ears. Maybe I don't know.
they don't understand it because they say crikey a bunch. That's not Scottish. And
That's
one
so
of
funny.
a
Now I
character,
kind of want to play it in English.
a character at one point said, "What the crikey?"
What the what?
Yeah, what the
That's awesome.
crikey? Like you
What?
don't understand this at all.
That's so funny.
Anyway, I'm enjoying it. It's really stupid, but I'm enjoying it. It also has like a classic JRPG mode that like makes it 2D.
Yeah, the 2D like SNES style graphics.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
thought I was gonna play some in that, but you can't. You can swap in between them, but only at like important story beats, kinda. Like it's not at any time, and so I don't really do it ever because I don't want to lose any progress at any point. And like, yeah, it's neat as a novelty. Like I'd love to see every area in the game and see what they look like and all, but the game is beautiful in 3D.
Yeah.
So like, why on earth?
I
would
think that
not?
mode's more suited for like people who have been with Dragon Quest since the beginning, like who played the original games.
Yeah,
Sort of
because
get a
people probably
nostalgic
already
kick out of
played it before this was available because it came out on the PlayStation and PC long before this was an option.
Yeah.
But it was probably good for people replaying the game to see it in a new light. And there are also certain areas that are involved, like stuff that was added in the definitive edition that you can only go to in 2D, and the game just switches over to 2D when you go there. And I think that's kind of neat.
Okay.
Like, it's called Echoes of an Elusive Age, and you kind of time travel back to previous Dragon Quest areas. And
Yeah.
they're not very big, but they're there and they're in 2D, and it's kind of neat.
Sweet.
But yeah, huge turn-based RPG binge right now, and I'll probably hate them by the time I'm done with this because I'll have played them too much.
Yeah, you got to space that out.
I've been on a big
Let's see how it
Pokemon
works.
itch, and I'm like fighting the urge to buy Sword. But I know I'm gonna hate
See,
that game.
For all we insult Pokemon for, Pokemon is like junk food to me. Like I will play it no matter how bad it is, and I enjoy them.
I wish if they were difficult at all, I think I could enjoy them. Pokemon Yellow has taught me that, and I enjoyed my Nuzlocke of Emerald. But like just stomping through
You
it
could
on
just do a
autopilot.
Nuzlocke first.
Yeah, I could. The problem with the Nuzlocke is you don't get to do any of the interesting team building stuff, though, or at least not nearly as much.
Yeah, like when it comes out, like a Pokemon Gen, I always have fun like catching and experimenting with like my team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that Nuzlocke makes that not doable.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I might visit some ROM hacks and stuff. I heard of a ROM hack called Radical Red that like it adds all the Pokemon to Gen 1 to Fire Red basically, and like if you
That's
won't
fun.
get past the 4th gym without EV training. All the NPCs are smart enough to swap out their Pokemon if you have a type advantage. Stuff like that. Excuse me. Stuff like that.
God, could you imagine like if Game Freak actually like tried. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, that's
I don't
harder
wanna
than
get
I'm
into
even
that
asking
discussion.
for. But yeah, if Game Freak actually tried, Pokemon could be insane. And I was looking at it because like Monster Sanctuary is probably going to sell okay, and it's on Game Pass too. And Temtem sold okay, but
Yeah,
nobody can make
I'm
a
kind of
Pokemon
eyeing Temtem.
competitor because there's so much excellence in the space. And honestly, Nintendo's insane for stopping this, in my opinion. This is a huge tangent, but there's so much excellence in the ROM hacking community of Pokemon that I do not think anyone could reasonably make a Pokemon clone and get off the ground, because there's no way they could have the number of monsters that these ROM hacks have. There's no way they could have like the ingrained like mechanical knowledge that every kid has going into them.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible. All these free ROM hacks have made it impossible for an indie company to come in and actually compete in this space, I think.
I mean, I guess the only kind of roadblock there is accessibility. Like, it's not everyone knows how to, play a
Right, but not
ROM
every
hack.
but you can look at indie games as well as having an accessibility problem, because just finding out about them is difficult,
Yeah.
True, yeah.
And I
Double-edged
feel like the overlap
sword.
between people that would play an indie Pokemon game and people that would play a ROM hack is very large. Like that Venn diagram is not quite a circle,
Yeah.
especially with how easy RetroArch is to use now and stuff.
Emulation's gotten easier and easier.
Yeah,
It has.
it's a problem. Well, emulation is not a problem. It's a problem for developers wanting to get into that space,
Yeah.
because so many talented people are willing to do it for free.
Yeah. All right. If you're done with your rant, Connor,
I am.
Mike,
I don't have a game other than the same old, same old. I've been playing a little bit of Mankind Divided, a little bit of League. The big game of this week is Cyberpunk, and that's 30 minutes from now.
That's less than an hour. Yeah. That's very exciting.
Let me check the Steam banner real quick.
Should be 32, right?
32, yeah, 31:15.
Right.
All right.
that.
So, Mike, you've got to tell us all about Cyberpunk next week, because I'm probably not going to play it until the next gen version comes out. But I'm pretty excited to play this game.
It's all I'm going to be thinking about during Extra Life, honestly. Like in the back of my mind, I'm going to be playing Cyberpunk right now.
Yeah.
Yep, that's in 2 days,
Which,
isn't it?
actually,
Yeah.
that's a perfect time to shout out. Well, by the time this goes live, Extra Life will be over, so never mind.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
your donations. It was a
Yep.
great time. We
I
had
can't
fun.
believe we made $1 million.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
actually, we've already dated this before Extra Life, so I mean,
Yeah.
Bill
The fact that we
Gates,
talked
Bill
about
Gates
Cyberpunk.
himself dropped some serious stacks on us.
Jeff, I heard Jeff Bezos gave me like $1 billion. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, he specified that we couldn't use it for charity.
Oh, man.
That
He
checks
gave us
out.
he gave us $1 billion in gift cards for Amazon Web Services. Weirdest thing.
All right, so I guess we'll round it out. I've been playing Destiny 2 Beyond Light. So I have not. You guys know I've been involved with Destiny for a long time now. I haven't played Destiny in a long time, but I have jumped back in because the PS5 version of Destiny is out, and I've started the new expansion, and I'm having a good time. But the thing that really sort of impresses me right now is just how good the next gen version is. It's essentially like playing it on PC because it has an adjustable FOV. It's running at 4K 60, and then Crucible mode, which is PvP, it switches to 120 if your display supports that. So the game runs buttery smooth now, and it's really funny because I booted up Destiny 2 on PS4 just for comparison afterwards. Playing Destiny 2 on PS4, I don't know how I did it. It's literally like a slideshow at 30 FPS.
Oh man,
And
it's already happening to you.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've already become frame rate elitist, I guess.
Based
But yeah,
in
like-
frame rate pilled.
Yeah, it's insane. It really was shocking to me, honestly, because like all the time you hear PC players saying, like frame rate is king, and obviously I believe that, but like actually experiencing it, like it feels so sluggish now at 30. And I've put like 1,000+ hours into Destiny at 30,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine how I did that now. It feels incredible to play because you know firsthand now, Connor, like how solid Bungie is at first person shooter gameplay.
Oh yeah, they're quite good. I've played Destiny too. I like that game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But
I'm
yeah,
excited. I'm
yeah,
probably going to get into it sometime 2021 because they're adding crossplay, and the moment I can actually
they're
play
adding
it with
crossplay, which is
friends.
super exciting. There's
Yeah, the
crossplay,
moment-
cross progression. But yeah, just experiencing that trademark Bungie gameplay at a buttery smooth 60 or 120 is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I really had to say about it. I'm still too early in the expansion to really comment about the specifics, but it's really cool that we're getting a new like elemental type added into the game. I don't know how closely you follow the lore of Destiny, Connor, but like instead of how the Guardians get their power from the light and the Traveler. Well,
Yeah.
now we're starting to get power from the darkness. So like
Yeah.
the new ability class that got added to the game is Stasis, and it's all about like freezing things. It's very interesting. So looking forward to playing more of that. Really enjoying the things that PC play for like a decade now, but better late than never.
We've had 60 FPS for more than a decade.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
We've been playing
Yeah, it's
games
been
at
a long
60
time.
FPS since like the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
it's
like
really
that.
kind of shocking how it took consoles this long to catch up to that specific thing.
Yeah, I really don't
Of all
understand why
things.
anyone values resolution over frame rate. I will never. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
once you get past 60 FPS, like the choice between 144 hertz 1080 or 1440 versus 60 FPS 4K, that's an actual choice you have to make. But if your choice is between literally any resolution at 30 and a lower resolution at 60, you take 60. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take 60. I don't
Yeah,
care that I'm
like-
at 1080 because I get 60 frames per second.
Yeah, I'd
And
rather be
sometimes
playing,
I go 144.
Yeah, I'd
like-
rather be playing my games at like 480p in 60 frames per second.
Yeah,
than-
it's a weird argument because like the game looks better, but like completely still. And when are you ever standing completely still in a video game?
I
Yeah.
want that buttery smooth.
Now there is an argument for like turn-based games. I don't really care. Like
Yeah, I don't care.
I am playing
mean,
Dragon Quest.
okay,
so I
what's
don't
the
think I'm running it
last
at
like
60,
what's the
but
last like graphically seriously impressive turn-based game you've really ever like
Dragon
previously
Quest
played?
11.
But like that you know what I mean? Like that's not performance intensive. Like that game ran on a Switch and virtually looked the same.
I mean, to run it at 4K, I'm not getting quite 60. I don't think.
Okay.
May just be maybe the port. I don't know. I might be getting 60. I haven't like frame checked it, but I'm used to 144, so it looks less than what I'm used to.
Yeah. But yeah,
It doesn't run
I'm,
bad
yeah.
for sure. But
Like I'm excited for the eventual future now that Pandora's box has been open. Like maybe when a PS5 Pro comes out, like 120 becomes the standard rather than 60. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 144
But yeah,
is already the competitive standard.
120 won't be the standard though. Not enough people have a TV that can do that. I don't think developers will ever target
Not
it.
yet. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, I say
144
not ever. They won't do it right now.
I think 144 is, I think, the future. It is the standard for competitive gaming right now on
Yeah,
PC.
I was gonna say 144 for a gaming monitor. Is
Yeah,
typical.
I mean, like anything above that, is that even noticeable? Like I've
Very little, I think.
People play at 200.
yeah, maybe unless you're like a super like attuned like esports player, maybe not to the layman.
There have been like empirical studies on like esports players and frame rate to performance, and 144 is that sweet
Yeah.
spot where it doesn't matter post that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But before that, if you're
Yeah.
playing at like 30 FPS, your performance is suffering. You could be the best player in
Yeah,
the
so
game,
that's-
but you're still getting information after other people already have it.
That's sort of an interesting concept. Like, what if like once games can hit comfortably like 144 on like PC and like PlayStation 6 or whatever, maybe then we start turning our attention more towards like resolution again. Like
Yeah,
maybe-
I wish that was
what I-
how it
what
would
I-
be. I wish we would
Yeah.
focus on frame rate before resolution.
what I'm getting at is that maybe there's like a higher limit, and then after that, frame rate won't get upped anymore, like ever. Like
Yeah.
obviously on PC you can up it as much as you want by tweaking, but like maybe once we hit that 144 standard, like PlayStation 10 and like Xbox, whatever they decide to call it, will also just cap out on 144 because after that's diminishing returns.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what I don't
think
understand?
that's-
This is kind of tangential, but a lot of filmmakers hate anything higher than 24 frames per second, and I don't understand
Yeah,
that. I get that they don't
don't-
like interpolation because that's not necessarily their vision. I mean, I think largely the argument is
Yeah,
douchey. It's a lot of people like Christopher Nolan making the argument, but Mr.
But that's the thing. I've heard that a lot from like filmmakers. So I don't know. Maybe it's something I don't understand about how a film can look. I don't pretend to be an expert in that
I
field.
think
but,
they're
like,
just kind of snobs about the cinematic experience being how it's always
Maybe,
been.
yeah.
Because I know like Christopher Nolan's throwing a tantrum right now because his movies are going to be on HBO Max, I think.
Who was it? Peter Jackson, when he did the Hobbit movies, he decided to film those at 60 frames per second, and that was a very new and controversial decision, right?
Yeah,
You guys
but I just
remember
like any content I'm watching, I want to watch at the highest frame rate possible. Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
why I wouldn't want that.
I mean,
But yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
I don't. Like, I'm going to be perfectly honest. It doesn't bother me at all for movies. For games, absolutely, but not movies.
It doesn't bother me for movies, but if I have a 60 FPS option on a YouTube video, I'm clicking it. Like, regardless of whether it's gaming or not, it just looks smoother. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I don't notice when I'm like kicking back watching a movie. And then there are like movies like Spider-Verse that like have fun with their frame rate, and that's obviously like, yeah, keep doing that. That was amazing.
God, I still got to watch Spider-Verse.
I gotta watch Spider-Verse.
You have to. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You gotta watch it
Totally.
soon.
Yeah.
More coming out.
Another tangent. But did you guys hear about what they're doing with Spider-Man 3 proper?
Yeah, yeah,
That movie is going to be absolutely wild, and maybe not in a good way.
yeah. I know. Who knows with Sony? It could be.
I don't even know what they're
Bringing
doing
back-
with it.
Is it
They're
an
bringing back,
MCU
like,
movie? Because
Tobey
Doctor Strange is
Maguire.
in it, right?
They're bringing they're bringing back like it's an MCU movie, but they're also bringing back all the previous Spider-Man like Tobey Maguire and Andrew
Oh, that's
Garfield.
like the power. It's like the Power Rangers reunion special.
And the Andrew Garfield Electro is going to be in it with Jamie Foxx, I think was his name.
And they're bringing back Alfred Molina as Doc Ock.
I
as well, which is
Oh, didn't he,
Alfred
like-
Molina.
Didn't he like die or get sucked into something at the end of Spider-Man 2?
Oh, he's totally dead, I think.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like Spider-Man lore, but like apparently anything can happen now. So
Yeah,
I
it
don't-
seems that way. Maybe there's time travel involved.
yeah, I hope they do it well. I'm kind of iffy on that idea, but this is
Oh, I
not
love it.
a
I hope it gets
Marvel
stupid. I hope
Cinematic
it gets
Universe
comic book stupid.
podcast. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. I think this has gone off the rails long enough. Thank you guys for listening. I think that's going to do it for us this week. You can follow us at @Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on any podcast service you use, as well as YouTube. Please click the link in the description of this podcast to join our Discord and chat with us there. And lastly, thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yep. No problem, Ahmed. And leave us comments telling us how much you hate our Game of the Year pick.
Yep, I'm sure someone hates everything we said today.
Yeah, and I want to hear about it. I want to
Yeah.
argue with you in the comments.
All right. We'll talk to you next time. See ya.